When you heard, like when you were in America doing all these tricks, collecting information, you would also hear that KGB was able to assassinate certain high-profile killings all around the world, right? Would you get that kind of information? Would you get to know that they must have maybe they killed some French ambassador, they killed somebody in... Did you feel proud when you hear these things about them?
I knew about a couple of them, and I thought they were justified.
Like what?
Like, defectors. KGB killed defectors. That actually was known to me. There was some fellow named Georgy Markov, who was actually a Bulgarian, who was assassinated by KGB with the famous in London, the famous umbrella tip. Yeah, so I knew all this, but
were you trained to use Ryzen or an umbrella technique like that?
No, nothing. I told you, no killing, no injuring, no fighting with the FBI. I did get self-defense training, but not to fight.
But were you aware of all the poisonous techniques and things they would use?
No.
You got to know about them later?
Yes. And
did you know about Laboratory 12?
About what?
Laboratory 12?
No.
A laboratory where they would make it like all of these different kind of poisons which will imitate heart attacks, and there was a famous accusation that they tried it on about 200 prison mates just to test it whether this is actually imitating heart attacks or no, and KGB used it all around the world.
The more I get to know, it doesn't make that organization more hateful. It was raw evil.
But you were never aware or told about wet work they would do?
No, not at all. Same way they didn't tell me what my actual task was. I told you, absolute secrecy.
Nothing at all?
Nope.
And then when you were telling me, like when you will hear about these assassinations, you thought it was justified? You never felt proud or sad about it?
No. Even the assassination attempt, when they attempted to kill the Polish Pope, well, I hated the guy. I was still a communist in those days, and he was instrumental, not the only key figure, but accelerating the fall of the communism. So, and I was still a communist, and I softened a little bit, but I was still at least a socialist, and I still thought capitalism was evil and America was not the country I wanted to stay in until something happened. But if that didn't happen, and we're going to get to it eventually, I would not have defected or stayed here to live the good life in the United States. I was still at least a socialist.
So what happened then? They called you. There was an incident that they wanted you back.
Yeah.
What was that incident?
Well, the incident was that it was a signal. We had a set of signals where those diplomats could signal something. They usually were chalk marks. They were very basic. Like, for instance, when I re-entered the country after having been in Moscow for some time, I had to make a mark saying I'm back in the country, or they asked me to confirm that I received the radio transmission that they sent, and I had to make a chalk mark. And there could also be a mark that says come to the dead drop operation. We have something for you. That was prearranged, right? So these were the signals, and one of the signals was danger. That means the danger signal was the most radical of that I never wanted to see. It was all the other signals were little chalk marks in white chalk, and this one was going to be a red, fist-sized red dot. And these signals, by the way, I could set signals for them were on where they would be going on the way to work. And in New York, they were all going from northern Manhattan with a vehicle to the United Nations. So I would make a signal on the path, so they didn't have to go out of their way to try to read it. And the same way, there was a signal where on my way to work, and this one was on a steel beam that supported the elevated portion of the subway that went from Queens to Manhattan. So in one day, I just look at this, and I never expected to be anything there, anything major there. And there was a red dot. It was screaming at me. It said, "Danger. The emergency procedure is in effect." And that meant don't go home, don't go to work, make a beeline to get the emergency document that you have. That I had some emergency documents in a park, and then go to Canada. Go make a beeline to the Canadian border, and go to Ottawa to the Soviet embassy, and we get you out of the country. That required for me to constantly have a lot of cash on me, because I wasn't supposed to go to the bank. I was supposed to. I had to just literally not run, but purposely make my way to Canada. And well, I didn't. I went to work.
Why?
Because I wasn't ready. I had a 18-month-old daughter at the time in the United States. And you're too young to have a daughter, are you not?
I don't have one.
One day you will have one. And I loved that child more than I ever loved another woman. That's sort of, it's built into us men. And she was 18 months old. We couldn't even talk yet. She was just, she was very pretty, and she looked at me with her big brown eyes. And she said, and the brown eyes talked to me, "Daddy, I love you. I need you." And I was trying to figure out how to support this girl from a distance, because my tour of duty was supposed to finish after about 12 years, and I was in my 11th year. So I knew and I couldn't take her with me. And her mother she was from South America. She didn't have, she had only 4 years of formal education. If I leave them to their own devices, they grow up in abject poverty. And so I hadn't figured out, how can I take care of this child when I leave? And I can't tell the KGB, I can't ask them for help. They would just probably not like it, to put it mildly. It could have possibly even put me in jail for insubordination. That was me having a child in another country. I don't know what they would have done with me or to me. And so I couldn't have asked American friends. They would have said, "Well, what's the matter with this?" So there was no solution. And I was still hoping eventually something will pop up, and who knows, maybe I win the lottery and give Mom a lot of money, whatever. None of that happened. And when that dot appeared, I wasn't ready. I had not decided how to react to something like that. And I tell you what, and I showed you the Order of the Red Banner. Everything that was good for me was back behind the wall. The wall was still up. So I would have come home as a conquering hero. I would have lived a good life. They promised me a house. They promised, and I had dollar savings in East Germany. So everything that was good for me was over there if I went home, and the only thing that was good for me is if I stay and defy the KGB, well, the only thing was good for me, I could take care of Chelsea and her mother. But there was a danger that the KGB was right, that I would be arrested.
Mm. But then didn't you think that you were going to die? KGB would kill you?
Well, there was the other danger was that if I defy them, if I say I'm not coming, or I just don't show up. Period.
Yeah.
If they had interpreted this as a defection, there was some danger. Yes, because I knew that defectors. They dealt with very radically. So that had to be taken into consideration. But I avoided that by coming up with a great story.
What was it?
The story was that I had contracted HIV/AIDS. You know what HIV/AIDS was?
Yeah.
Well, okay. So and it was very credible too. So first of all, the day I saw the dot, I went to work and I just stared at the screen and did nothing. And then I was thinking I have a little more time, maybe, because there was one time I was sick and so I didn't read the dot. Well, so I was still kicking the can down the road until I was approached by an agent while waiting for the subway, and it was dark outside. It was already early winter, and I'm standing there. Not too many people. It was early in the morning, and this short man I will never forget him. I never forget what he said, and he whispered in a strong Russian accent, "Come home, or else you're dead." Was that a threat? You had to take it seriously, knowing what I knew.
Mm.
So now, at that point, I had to make a decision. And the decision was just like, it came to me, the only way I can get out of this is if I claim to have a deathly disease. And AIDS was a really good candidate because it was a death sentence. And I knew that the Soviet Union, rightfully so, was very much concerned with regard to letting foreigners that have the AIDS virus into their country. And they had no reason to think that I was lying to them because they knew how much good it was going to be for me to come back home, right? And I made also my explanation very credible in that I told them even who I got the disease from, because I was also required to report on anybody who I was close friends with, not just for recruitment purposes. They needed to know. And I had a couple of girlfriends, and one of them had an ex-boyfriend who was a drug addict. And I reported that as well. So, and then I said I got it from her. Now, I was a good liar. They believed it. Then they told my German family that I had died from AIDS. And the interesting thing is even today, Albrecht Dittrich, remember that's my German name, his file, his record in the social register says that he passed away in 1988 as a ex-classmate of mine who worked in the archives saw that. So I got away with it. They did not come after me. And that is when my entire attitude changed, because now I had a family. I had a daughter and I had a wife to take care of. And that's when I started something I never thought I would, like work on a career and build the American dream and buy a house and another house and another house and make really good money. Had a house with a pool. It was amazing. And At one point, I forgot that I ever was even a communist or a KGB agent. I put this out of my mind. I did not want to say hello to the FBI because I was afraid that might cause damage to me and the family.
But then, aren't you scared today, now that you're public? And KGB has a saying that we never forget traitors.
That's in the movies.
Yeah. In reality, it's not the thing?
Okay, first of all, there's no more KGB.
But now it's FSB, and then there's
FSB,
GU, and then there's SVR.
Okay, but secondly, my case is very old.
So they don't care anymore.
Even if they do care, to do damage to somebody on the territory of a foreign country requires special teams, and they don't have so many. And then there's evidence of that. You remember the attempt to poison Sergei Skripal in London with Novichok. There was a defector who lived in London. There was a GRU team put poison on him while he was sitting on a park bench and with his daughter. He survived. 13-year-old
daughter. Yeah.
Oh, you know the story.
Yeah, but go ahead, tell me.
Okay. The GRU team was one of the elite teams that they have, and they don't have that many, and they didn't get out of the country without having been known to be intelligence. They weren't arrested, but somehow they left a trail. And so even the top team made a mistake. So why would they squander a team like that on an ancient case like mine? So the bottom line is, and I tell everybody when they ask that question, the bottom line is I am safe in Western countries. I'm safe in Europe. I think I would be safe in India. I clearly would not want to ever. If you offer me $10 million, I wouldn't visit Moscow or St. Petersburg because they have too many windows there that you can fall out of. and I tell you why this is actually not just my fantasy.
थैंक यू सो मच ये क्लिप एंड तक देखने के लिए. अगर आपको और भी ऐसी क्लिप्स देखनी है तो राज शमानी क्लिप्स चैनल को सब्सक्राइब कर लीजिए.